I figured there was no time like the present to offer some suggestions in terms of money saving tips for financial minimalists, or just anyone who wants to cut down their expenses and reel in spending. Saving money by cost cutting or finding good value can require a lot of critical thinking, or rather critical analysis and research, at least initially. The good news is, the more that you do it, the more your brain becomes accustomed to the practice and it becomes internalized as a habit. When I first moved to Mexico, I had no income stream and was living off savings. One of the first things that I did was to cancel my Pro Unlimited SoundCloud account. It was a major bummer because I could no longer upload my DJ mixes since I didn't have unlimited upload space anymore. With the basic account, you only have 3 hours of upload time. However, since I wasn't making $40,000 a year at a full-time job anymore, I couldn't really justify spending $12 to $16 per month on something that I wasn't seeing any return from. In order to keep posting mixes, I decided to get creative and DM every record label or music blog with a SoundCloud I could think of that features guest mixes to see if I could submit a mix. A lot of the outlets that I contacted failed to message me back, but the ones who agreed and that I submitted a mix to allowed me to reach a new audience beyond my typical listener base and grow my reach. This is a prime example of how thinking critically can allow you to both cut expenses and open up opportunities. Another technique I've picked up through my experience that's allowed me to reel in my spending is to not go gourmet when it truly doesn't matter. Two great examples of this principle that I've thought of are to opt for rail or well liquor in a mixed drink instead of going for top shelf when you can't really even taste the difference anyway, and the same principle applied to using pasture-raised eggs for something like French toast when, in the end, you can't even taste the distinction. In a lot of cases, the most cost-effective options are the ones that benefit your physical and mental wellness the most. For example, when I was living in Mexico, the raw foods cost a fraction of what the processed, toxic packaged items cost. Another instance in which the cheapest option is also the most beneficial to your health is in the case of entertainment. By opting to not pay for a monthly streaming service, you are boycotting willing mental manipulation and will likely boost your creativity and overall well-being as a result. There may be times when you need to spend more to save money in the end. When you have to pay more for something than you anticipated, or come across an unexpected expense, try to think of ways to leverage it or use it to your advantage to actually save you money instead. A good example of this from my time in Mexico was when I had to take the combi, the equivalent of the city bus, from Calderitas, the village where I was living, into the city, Chetumal. While the fare cost me about 14 pesos round trip, you could often find things for cheaper in Chetumal than in Calderitas, so when I knew I needed to make a trip to get something that was unavailable to me in Calderitas, I'd also hold off on buying things that I could get for cheaper in Chetumal, and the difference essentially paid for my travel expenses. In a similar sense, I learned to like cheap Mexican beer, Superior, because the difference in price between that and the next cheapest option, 5 pesos, was enough funds to afford an empanada that could be chased with the beer. Another suggestion I have in the food department is to opt for consuming things with shorter shelf lives first before ones that are more longer lasting. It may seem like a no-brainer, but this will ensure that you don't end up throwing away expired food, thus wasting money. Finally, I have one suggestion for anyone who wants to take penny pinching to an extreme, which is to reclaim water from the faucet and cut off the water when you're lathering up in the shower between rinsing in order to cut down your water bill. I know this might sound excessive, but my water bill was the largest expense after internet while I was living in Mexico, and if you do this every day for a 30-day period, the savings add up. It's the little things in life.